Linda come out and
still with us, Bob Bianchi. Bob, you know, now I'm sad for him that he's lost both of his parents, but you know, I think that the prosecutor was surprised by his testimony that Linda didn't come down to the basement to snuggle with him on the couch and didn't come down to the basement to watch TV. And the way she asked it, I think this witness may not have recalled what the prosecution thought he recalled.
Yeah, it could be, but I mean, nevertheless, this is a brutal witness for the defense. I mean, I can't count how many murder cases I've had where it's just such a tragedy when you look back on it. And I told you, Judge, I actually had an arson homicide. It was a death penalty case where the children lose both their parents. This is an extremely credible witness. One thing I really liked about the construction of his testimony was the prosecutor asked, I thought, a very tactful question. I don't know if it was done on purpose, but she had asked, did you ever see them physically fight before? And he said no. Why do I think that that's important? Because it shows he's being credible. And it shows that he's testifying from what he believes the truth is. He's no longer calling her mom or his parent. He's calling her Linda. He's there on the witness stand. He doesn't want to see his father's killer get free. And he's looking like he's blaming himself because he always kissed them. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm actually saying it. And say goodbye to them. And on this particular day, she manipulated him to leave that home, not to stop the divorce conversation, but rather to commit a murder. This is a really bad witness for the defense. It'll be interesting to see how they tactically go about cross-examining a child that's testifying and that is a victim himself.
Yeah, I agree. And he did not testify the first go-round, Matt, when she was convicted. So it's my understanding that he didn't testify the first time.
Yeah, and that could go to your point about the fact that maybe the state was surprised because they thought that they buttoned up this witness to help bolster their case this time around. Bob Bianchi, thank you so much. Watching along with you at home, and we are reading your comments. Wow. Okay, let's bring in criminal defense attorney and former head prosecutor Bob Bianchi. All right, I have the benefit of, we actually both do, of seeing you, and you're shaking your head. What do you make of this exchange?
Go, Bob, because I know what you're
Just
thinking.
go.
It's annoying you, isn't it?
Oh, it's driving me crazy, you know, over here in New Jersey. First of all, I feel bad for the defense lawyer. He has a right to aggressively cross-examine this witness without these constant standing objections by the prosecutor, who is literally testifying before the jury. He's making the appropriate objection at the time, even though he doesn't have to. I was telling your producer this. The judge is the person who's supposed to control the courtroom, and these standing objections are outrageous. And may I also add, she's now attacking the lawyer and calling him essentially a liar and a manipulator, and the court is doing nothing to correct this prosecutor that these kind of ad hominem attacks on the defense attorney are inappropriate. So that's the first level here. The second piece to this is, look, I don't know the substance of this testimony. I came on in the middle of cross-examination or what the value of it is, but credibility, so your audience understands, because we love to educate them, right, guys? Credibility is always relevant. Even extraneous issues pertaining to the credibility of the witness are always relevant unless limited by evidence rule 403 in most jurisdictions. In other words, if the prosecution is saying that the credibility attacks upon the witness are inappropriate, then the judge is supposed to make a specific ruling as to whether or not it's goes so far astray that they aren't going to allow it. And that's very unusual here. So I believe that not only was the prosecutor acting inappropriate here, but the judge was limiting the defense lawyer's legitimate inquiries as to the motive that she would have to lie and whether or not she's a truthful person. Last point, guys. Sorry, I just gotta get it all out. Yes, it is true that you're talking about whether a person is deceitful, and the court was making him have to use that word. You don't have to use that word. Ultimately, the question of whether she's deceitful or not is an issue for the jury to determine after an aggressive and forceful cross-examination. Judge Ashley, I got to give you one last point, or Matt, maybe you said it. Whoever was there talking about how it's getting really hot in there or whatever needs to come to a Jersey courtroom to see how we do it here in Jersey on cross, because it's a lot more aggressive than what we're seeing here.
Well, tell us how you really feel on this Friday. We need to go into a courtroom that you're presiding over. All right.
Well, honestly, though, I think, though, Bob, we also have to keep in mind that, you know, how much the attorneys push back on the judge determines what the judge does to manage the courtroom. So at some point, I'm wondering if we're going to see the defense attorney say, Judge, that's it, right? I've had enough. Let's talk this through, because she keeps interrupting and testifying. All of that to say, what's the motive for this witness to lie? Well, there is a motive, and that would be the money that she lent to Linda Stermer.
$5,000.
Yep, and then there was that no-lo plea when she attacked Linda. All right, Bob, stand by. Coming up next, Linda and Todd Stermer's then 17-year-old nephew takes the stand. What he says he remembers about that fateful day, up next.